This is a 2412 limited format game with a Spellslinger and Sparkmage. Played at Portland Game Store in Portland, Oregon. The decks here were constructed using a Winston draft format, and I'll go ahead and put a link to the video on that draft and how we drafted that if you're curious to click back and see. So my friend Steve is playing the Spellslinger at the top of the screen here, and then I am playing Sparkmage on the bottom. And we're looking at mulligans right now. Looks like I have 3 creatures in my hand. On curve, which is a decent start, they are all air. So that felt pretty good. I believe I did make a slight play mistake not mulliganing one of my sites at the beginning here. So Steve just figuring out which cards he's going to take. It looks like he's going to take 1 site and 2 spells. And then I believe he also forgets that Spellslinger gets 4 cards to start the game, so he's going to draw another one. I always tell people that whenever I'm playing a limited game and we're playing Spellslinger, if I don't forget, somebody else is going to forget. It's such an easy thing to forget when you're on autopilot. All of the other avatars start the game with 3 spells in hand. So it looks like we're gonna go ahead and get started. And got a opening site. It's going to be a windmill. I don't have any turn 1 plays, but that's a pretty good base to start out with on your sites to get the duel out. So he's going to tap for a wasteland. He's got 1 fire threshold. On my turn, I'm going to draw for a spell. And I'll tap for a wasteland as well. So now I have a fire, an earth, and air threshold. And then for 2, I'm going to play Dead of Night Demon with stealth. In general, with limited decks, I think it's a lot easier to hit your 2-drop minions just because there's more of them that are going to show up that you're going to end up taking. Steve taps for a Spire. So I believe he has a fire and an air threshold now. And he's got 2 mana to play with. And he does have a 2-drop as well, which is going to be a Rimland Nomad. And then he'll pass to me. He's choosing to play a little defensively with his site placements, which was, I think, more of an interesting choice. He might have not had as many minions in his opening hand, so I don't know if he was a little bit nervous about that or not. I'm going to tap for my 3rd site, which is another wasteland, and again, I'm moving my sites up to meet him at his home site. The Dead of Night Demon is going to move forward a step. And then I believe I make a play as well. Yep, here's a 3-drop, which is Ogre Goons. So Ogre Goons is just a 3-power minion for 3, but in a limited format, 3-power minions can have a huge effect on the board. And as you can see, like now I have the stealthed up 2-power minion. I have this Ogre Goons, which is 3, which is more than his Rimland Nomad. And if he doesn't have a response to that, that puts him in a tight position, because next turn I can start trading, or not even trading, I can attack and kill the nomads with the ogre goons and like instantly trade up on value there. So Steve looking at his options. I think he's going to tap for a site. And that site. He's debating where he wants to go here. And it looks like a mountain pass. So, I mean, ideally the best place to put the mountain pass would have been the bottleneck at the middle of the board on turn 2 or turn 3. And then gotten a minion on top of that thing. But he's going to play it over to the side. And he has 3 mana for turn right now. And I think he has a minion play. I think he's just debating it. There it is. The Plume Pegasus is going to come down. And so then he passes turn without moving the nomads, and I think that it would have been a slightly stronger play for him to use the nomads to move them and get onto the mountain pass. That is, the mountain pass is something that's going to come back and haunt him later in this game. And the nomads could have gotten there because they have +1 movement. So they're allowed to move 2 steps on their move and attack. Sparkmage is going to tap for a valley. And I believe I am attacking in to the Rimland Nomads to force Steve to make a decision, and he chooses to trade, to defend with the Pegasus to trade. And now I'm going to go ahead and attack into the mountain pass with the demon. So that'll break stealth, but that will get my minion onto the mountain pass site. So now on the mountain pass site, no other minions can enter from the ground. I'll follow that up with an apprentice wizard to draw a card and then pass turn. Steve's drawing a site for turn. He's going to tap for a site. And a Spire comes down. So now he has 3 air threshold and 1 fire. Total of 4 mana. He's just counting to double check. He's going to play up a Trojan Cavalry, and with the charge it means he can attack the turn it comes in, so he's going to immediately attack my site for 3 points of damage. And now he is, I believe, going to attack as well with the Nomads, and again because they have +1 move, they're going to be able to move and attack 2 steps. I'm going to choose not to block with the wizard, just because it's not a favorable trade for me at this point, and I don't feel a lot of pressure to have to block that right now, given the state of my health total. So at this point, I've been fishing for the second air threshold on my sights. I thought I would have drawn it by now, but I have not. I'm gonna move up with the demon and attack for 2, and then move my wizard into the mountain pass and attack for 1. And I'm going to play a Sacred Scarabs out as a defensive. And then I'm tapping for a sight. And you can see I did draw the Spire, which is what I was looking for. I was looking for that second air threshold. But earlier in the turn, I was debating whether or not I should draw the draw sight, or whether or not I should play the sight I already had in my hand. And I opted to draw it because I wanted to be in a better position to be able to play the sight next turn for 2 air threshold, and then play one of my two air threshold cards. Steve has another Spire coming down, so it's going to bring his mana total to 5. 4 air threshold, 1 fire. He's in a tough spot right now with the Scarabs, because I can use the Scarabs to defend, and as their death right will do 3 points of damage to everything on the site when they blow up. So it somewhat limits where he can attack and gives me a little bit more power in terms of choosing when he attacks, if he's going to be sacrificing a creature. So he's trying to attack the wizard, but he has forgotten to have that the mountain pass forbids entry when there's already a minion on the site. So instead, I think he's just going to step forward 1 onto my home site, strike that for 2. I'm going to choose not to defend with the Scarabs. That would be a poor choice on my side, because then they would blow up. They would kill the nomads, but then I would take an additional 3. I think the Scarabs are much better used here to threaten defensively against the Trojan cavalry. He cannot attack in at this point without trading with the Scarabs, unless he has a way to remove these Scarabs. He's got a mad dash to draw a card. So he's giving +1 movement as well to the Trojan cavalry. I don't think that's going to really net him any additional benefits this turn, given the site placements and where the cavalry is. Any sites that he could attack on my side are 1 step away from the Scarabs. So no matter where he wants to go to attack with the cavalry, I'm going to be able to defend. You see that he resigned himself to taking the turn to trade the cavalry for the Scarabs, and then he's passed turn. So at this point, I think my hand is loaded up with air threshold cards. I just drew a teleport. I have a Gyre Hippogriffs, which I'm eager to get out, and then I believe I also had a cloud spirit in there. So unfortunately, I have to tap the Sparkmage this turn to get my second air threshold out. I'm gonna attack in with the demon and the wizard where they are for 3 more points in. And then I'm gonna do hippogriffs and attack the mountain pass. And this was somewhat of a non-optimal play on my part, and you'll see why shortly. But for the most part, it is beneficial when thinking about positioning on the board and where your minions are to have them spread out if able. So Steve gave me some openings for additional sites that would have been more spread out. I could have attacked either of his spire sites to get some more distance spread between my minions, but instead I'm clumping them up onto the mountain pass. And honestly, there really is not a ton of reason to do that, and it leaves you open to things like this. So he chooses to incinerate to deal 4 damage to everything on a nearby site. So 4 points is going to kill, the hippogriffs and the wizard. Now, unfortunately, he had to spend 5 out of 6 of his mana for that. So unless he has a 1-drop creature, he's not going to be able to get a minion back onto Mountain Pass. And then he's going to attack with the nomads where they are for 2 more points in, and then pass turn. So I draw a spell for turn. I'm pretty set up with my mana base and my thresholds at this point. Again, I have 2 air threshold, so I have the ability now to start playing my air cards and then using my tap on the Sparkmage to start dealing damage nearby. So that is a potential way that I could have dealt with the nomads. Right now I'm attacking with the demon back into Mountain Pass to get my minion back onto Mountain Pass for 2 points into the Spellslinger. And then I'm choosing to tap for another site instead. At this point, I think my train of thought was that I wanted to get to 5 mana base and keep my 2 threshold air spells in hand for the tap ability with the Sparkmage. The Midnight Rogue, it's stealth that has range 2, and if I place it on that site forward from my home site, it makes it very difficult for Steve to get the nomads away. So next turn, I can range strike uncontested wherever the nomads end up and kill them. Steve taps for another site. It's another fire site. So he's got a lot of mana on the board right now. 7 total. 7 total, most threshold requirements that he would need. He doesn't have a second earth, notably. And then he passed turn, but we were playing a friendly game, like a casual friendly game, so I reminded him that he had not used the nomads yet that turn. So I told him to attack the site for the 2 extra points of damage. So now on my turn, the rogue is going to tap for a ranged strike. The ranged strike will deal 2 to the nomads to kill them. That will break stealth. And then I'm taking a step up and casting Amazon Warriors. Amazon Warriors is going to take him to door next turn unless he has a response to that. He could have had something like a berry. A berry could have dealt with that, or he could have had, there are several fire spells that could deal enough damage to take out the Amazon Warriors. I took a step up with the Sparkmage because I wanted to start getting into position. Once I get into Death's Door, I really want to be able to use the Sparkmage's ability as a checkmate to threaten, to be able to deal that last point of damage at Death's Door for the win. So it's my turn now, and essentially, like, yeah, I just need to attack in with the Amazon for door, and then the rest is positioning. So I'm moving the Sparkmage up to make it harder for him to get away from the Sparkmage's range. I'm going to attack in with the Amazon Warriors for 5 for door, and then I'm going to move the Rogue to the right. I chose not to move the Rogue up to the same site as the Sparkmage, just because I wanted a little bit more spacing to kind of put pressure and corner him in. And then I cast those Ravens. Again, that was probably not an optimal play on my part, but I just wanted to get something in, so I had another option to threaten him at door. They have Airborne. He's going to tap for a Valley. And I think that Valley is going to be very important on this turn. So right now he has 8 mana total. 2 earth, 2 fire, 4 air. And he's going to make a play. There it is. There's Earthquake. So Earthquake is going to bury every minion on those sites. None of them have burrow, so they are going to die. And then he gets to do a rearrange in that 2x2 grid. And so he is choosing to push back the Sparkmage to give himself a little bit more space. That will help him defend against the Sparkmage's ability, since I would have to be able to cheat the Sparkmage up in order to use the tap ability. I can't move and attack with the Sparkmage on its own and also tap for the ability. Which, it's a sound strategy. I think, like I said earlier though, I have been keeping a teleport in my hand. Which Steve doesn't know at this point. But as it stands right now with the board state, on my next turn I can teleport up to the next site and then tap to deal the Sparkmage damage. So now he plays Border Militia. Border Militia is going to summon some Foot Soldier tokens for him. So we put 1 on the Mountain Pass, but I believe that is a misplay on our part. Mountain Pass should forbid the Foot Soldier token from entering, but he would have gotten the other 2 on the board. And I think he's also realizing, like, maybe if he had rearranged some sites on the Earthquake a little bit more, he could have generated an extra token as well. So having that Foot Soldier up there takes a little bit of the wind out of my sails for the kill shot on this turn with teleport. So the way that the Sparkmage ability works is that you tap the Sparkmage to deal damage to a random unit on top of a site nearby, equal to the amount of air threshold from spells that you've cast this turn. So there's two units there. There's the Foot Soldier and there's the Spellslinger. I'm gonna do a random roll, and I end up getting it. A really fun game, and Steve's deck it had a lot of scary like board wipe cards in it. And I think that where his deck kind of failed him is that he had a House Bannerman in his hand, but he didn't get it out early enough. He didn't get enough minions out, I think. When I was looking at his deck list, I think, you know, his curve looked good. It just his minions, the number of minions on it looked a little bit light to me. But a very fun game and a very fun format, Winston Draft. I recommend you give it a chance if you have the opportunity. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.